A chemistry teacher in Pune set the NEET question paper. He also translated it into Marathi. Nobody checked his work because nobody was allowed to. I'm going to show you exactly how NEET and JEE are built, and the 3 specific documented points where that process broke: one inside a sealed trunk, one inside a translator's laptop, one inside the exam software. In 2026, NEET was cancelled and 22.7 lakh students had to sit again. Not because they cheated, but because someone else did. 5 years earlier, JEE had a completely different breach most aspirants have never heard of. That one changes how you should feel about NEET going digital in 2027. NEET decides who becomes a doctor. JEE decides who gets into an IIT or NIT. Between them, close to 40 lakh applicants a year. NEET registered 22.79 lakh in 2026. JEE Main hit a record 16 lakh in its second session. One testing agency, 2 different formats. NEET on paper, JEE on computer. Both run on one promise: nobody sees the paper or the exam software before they're supposed to. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where that promise failed for each exam, why the failures look nothing alike, and what's actually being fixed versus just announced. Question papers are written inside NTA's ConOps protocol. Setters isolated in soundproofed rooms. No internet, no phones, rough work shredded. The final paper stored encrypted on one command center machine. Tight on paper. NEET is set in 13 languages, and to limit exposure, the same expert who writes the questions also translates them. Hold that thought. Here's where the exams split. NEET is pen and paper, one nationwide shift, raw scores. JEE Main is fully computer-based, across multiple sessions, so scores convert to a percentile to make sessions comparable. One trusts a trunk, the other trusts a server. Same secrecy at the start, completely different weak points, and both endings have already failed, in ways that look nothing alike. If you want the receipts, not just the headline, I've read the CBI charge sheets and court records. 1. Scale. NTA runs both exams for tens of millions of candidates using outsourced printing, transport, and exam center premises. More hands than any team can fully vet. 2. Physical trunk transport, NEET's specific weak point. From press to sealed trunk to control room to invigilator. Every handoff is a person who could open the paper before it's legally allowed to. 3. That setter-translator overlap. One compromised person sees an entire subject's content with nobody double-checking them. 4. And this is the one people miss. Going digital isn't automatically safer. JEE's computer-based format removes the trunk, but adds a network and software that can be manipulated remotely by someone who's never been near a printing press. More on that shortly. NEET's exposure is physical, JEE's is digital, and both stayed unpunished long enough to happen more than once. This isn't occasional dishonesty. It's a market with a price tag. In the JEE Main 2021 case, candidates reportedly paid up to 15 lakh rupees each to have someone remotely take the exam for them. 15 lakh rupees per seat. Everyone with legitimate access before exam day, press staff, coordinators, even setters, earns a modest salary and sits one decision away from a payout worth years of it. Add an agency that's historically added security after each failure instead of before, and a track record of very few of these cases actually ending in conviction. You need an opportunity and a paying customer. This keeps happening because the reward is large and the risk sits in very few hands. Everything so far has been the system. What's coming now is 3 real cases named suspects, the exact moment each exam broke. One involves a foreign national and exam software most people have never heard of. Stay for this. 5th May 2024. NEET trunks arrive at a Hazaribagh school, stored in a control room. Pankaj Kumar, A civil engineer with zero official role in the exam gets access to that room. CBI's charger sheet says he pried the trunks open, candidates solved the paper, and worked out answers went to paying candidates. No hacking, no headquarters conspiracy, just an unmonitored gap at one location. Result: 67 candidates scored a perfect 720 out of 720. 2026 should worry you more. It happened earlier in the process. CBI arrested a Pune chemistry lecturer who held both the setting and the Marathi translation role, plus a biology teacher, both NTA appointed, no hackers. A guess paper matched roughly 120 of the 180 questions before the exam even started. NTA cancelled it entirely. 120 out of 180 questions matched pre-exam. The one most aspirants haven't heard of. CBI found a private company, Affinity Education Pvt Limited, tampered with iLeon, the software running JEE Main's computer-based test, to remotely take control of terminals during the exam and have solvers answer live during the exam. 11 people were arrested, including a foreign national suspected as the lead hacker. NTA debarred 20 candidates for 3 years, no trunk, no printing press, just a laptop and compromised software from anywhere. One exam broke in a truck. One broke in the room where the paper was born. One broke over a network in real time. Cancelling NEET UG to X26 didn't just punish whoever leaked the paper, it forced all 22.7 lakh registered candidates to sit the exam again for a breach involving a small fraction of them. Beyond the delayed results, the strain on aspirants was serious enough that it became a genuine national conversation about student mental health support, not just an exam policy story. JEE's cost looks different, but is just as real. Every seat a hired solver won in 2021 was a seat a genuine aspirant lost. Both cases became political flashpoints, and the response is now permanently expensive. They deploy over 5 lakh security personnel, the Air Force, and paramilitary escorts for the trunks. Election-scale resourcing for one exam day. Real students lose time and seats, and the system spends crisis money instead of fixing the design. The 2024 Reform Committee's core recommendation: eliminate physical trunk transport entirely, with encrypted digital transmission and secure on-site printing. 18 months later, when NEET UG 2026 happened, the trunk was still there. The Supreme Court itself said NTA had learnt no lesson. What has moved? Facial biometric checks are now live for JEE Main. NEET goes fully computer-based from 2027. JEE's format. Fast-track courts for leak cases were announced with no confirmed count or start date yet. Here's the uncomfortable part. NEET is about to adopt the exact format that got JEE hacked in 2021. Digital transmission fixes the trunk problem. It doesn't by itself fix the iLeon problem. The paper leak fix is real but overdue. And the migration to digital for NEET is walking toward a vulnerability JEE has already proven exists. If you now understand how these breaches actually happen, not just the headline, subscribe. I turn stories like this into sourced breakdowns every week. Subscribe. And tell me in the comments, does NEET going fully digital in 2027 make it safer than JEE? Or does it just inherit JEE's problem? I'll pin the best argument. If you want the law that's supposed to punish all this, I broke it down fully right here.